What's going on, man?
Nothing much. I'm happy, man, because I'm inside. It's raining outside.
It
I feel
is.
like I'm dry and
That is
nourished.
important. That is
I got
important.
about a big cup of water. Yeah, I'm happy.
I'm happy to
Man.
hear
How are
that.
you?
I'm good, man. I'm happy. I'm happy that it's Black History Month because I'm Black.
Yeah, man.
You
Black
know,
History Month is amazing.
it is.
It doubles for me as Black Eye History Month, and that's anybody that violates during the course of Black History Month. My friend Marcus Porter and I developed this Black Eye History Month. Is for anybody that wants to disrespect the culture during February. You can get these hands.
Get the black eye.
But yeah, things are good on my end, man. I'm just trying to maintain. I feel like people say that, but like I really am just trying to find some calm in all this craziness. COVID is still a thing, still existing. People around me are getting it, and I'm lucky that I haven't got it. And there's no judgment on anybody that has gotten it,
For
so
sure.
I feel like there's this feeling that people feel like that there's like people who've gotten it, people who haven't gotten it, and people that have gotten it a couple of times, and people that I just want people to stay safe, and
that's the important part, man.
Yeah, be well.
Yeah,
that's important.
People are taking chances with the health, but you never know how your body's going to react to it. You never know what's going to happen. Whole goal is to, get hospitalization down and not overwhelm the healthcare workers. So that's what we're trying to get to. And hopefully we can get back to a society close to where we were before,
Yeah.
I enjoy being outside.
Me too. And they're telling us like the next 5 years are going to be like this. So like, I'm like, that sounds very daunting.
Yeah.
That we're going to have to move around like this. And I hope that once the vaccine stuff gets a little more like, there's so many strains that it'll be like, oh my COVID acting up. That's you just take a little pill and it's gone.
They are actually working on the pill too, which is crazy.
Yeah. I come from a science background. My mom is like heavy duty in the science. So like I've always believed in it, and I trust it. I'm not going to be any guinea pig for anything crazy. I do enough research that I know that things have existed in different forms and just been adapted for us in this thing. So like, do your research.
And by research, you don't mean like going on Reddit, right? You like actually.
Right.
Okay.
Or your friend with one gold tooth that's like, that has beautiful skin and uses shea butter. That doesn't mean that his insides are okay. Like I think people try to pass this off like just because you got beautiful skin and you look young for your age. That don't mean you can run a 15-minute mile. That don't mean nothing. It don't mean that. So it's interesting, man.
For sure. But yeah, that was a good little catch up. But we are here to pod, and we do have some pretty cool people joining us today. Cheresse Thornhill and Liz Conelly from Adidas S.E.E.D School.
Adidas.
So, yes.
I love Adidas.
3 stripes game. So it is a program similar to Pencil. We had Dwayne Edwards, founder of Pencil, on earlier. They actually partnered with them with the program. So this is focused specifically on women and getting them into the industry. And the past couple of sessions that they've done, classes that they've done, have been women of color predominantly, which is really cool because it's a low number of women of color and Black women in the space. So creating a space at a major brand to try and grow those numbers is amazing. And, I kind of want to talk to them about their history and design and just the program overall, and just get some more information and hopefully share it with some other creatives and, get them in that space.
Cool. That's exciting, man. I love programs that encourage Black and brown people to get out there and make a way for them, man. Because it's, we have these conversations constantly of the discrepancy of, Black creatives and higher ups and designers and all that stuff in these creative spaces. They're just not very many, not enough. And this sounds like a cool program, and I can't wait to talk to them about it.
Yeah, for sure, man. So we got a couple minutes before they hop in. We're gonna cut this. We'll come right back, and they'll be here. So if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Apple Music Podcast, wherever you're listening, make sure you subscribe, leave comments, share it, so we can continue to grow the audience and keep giving you guests like this.
Hell yeah, please, thank you.
All right, let's get to the guest. All right, Ronald, looks like our guests are here. Cheresse, Liz, how are you guys doing today?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, great.
Thanks for having us.
How are you?
All right. So welcome to Branded Conversations with Creatives. I guess we'll just go ahead and jump right into it. Just give us a quick introduction of who you are individually, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Cool. Want me to go?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll kick off. Liz is my work BFF.
Oh, cool.
It's true.
Yeah, she's my better half at work and taking over the world.
Yep.
No, we have tons of fun. I'm super blessed to currently be in this role. So I'm the design director of S.E.E.D, and I also run No Shoes creative consultancy on my own, No Shoes Creative. And I've been in the industry now for almost 15 years. Kind of scary to actually say that. Don't let the baby face fool you. I've been around for a while. I always love sneakers. I always loved basketball. Kind of growing up in South Florida. The first time I saw the Jordan 10s, that's when I really started paying attention to shoes. I was in the 5th grade. And I really remember that moment being out on in PE, like looking at everyone's shoes. But that was the first time I actually started paying attention to sneakers. And, later on in junior high, discovered, I really loved it, and I would collect the old East Bay magazines and just be in class and, sketching a lot of the shoes that I saw in the magazines. And then, at one point I discovered that I could actually make this into a career path, so throughout high school and then moving into college, I actually was able to study industrial design. And that really led all the way into Nike. And I started off my career at Nike in the summer of 2007. And since then, I've done a lot of different products within that brand. I actually designed footwear for Champion as they were relaunching their brand as well.
Oh, cool.
So that was pretty cool just to have that branded experience, and then to be able to go into a licensee and work on that types of products really helped me to kind of expand my knowledge just of the industry and like the different parts of our industry that you can create products in. And then the summer of 2019, Liz reached out and said, hey, we're working on this amazing, program within Adidas. And, her and a few other people reached out about it and, invited me into the work that they were already doing. And I couldn't help but say yes and, pick up everything and move from South Florida to New York. And here we are. Right before the pandemic, maybe 2 months before the pandemic kind of, kicked off. We kicked off January of 2020.
Yeah.
And then, in March, it was like, okay, switch.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much my intro. I'll let Liz do hers.
Yeah. So I, Liz Conelly, my role for S.E.E.D, I'm one of the people who helped co-found the program. And then I kind of lead everything in like the talent and brand departments right now. So HR related, recruiting related, like program management, like people stuff and operations and all the boring things. And then also like how we communicate about what we're doing. So, that's been really awesome. I think like my journey getting there as a creative, especially, is like I struggled a little bit in school. Like I was smart, I could get A's on tests and things like that, but like the environment itself was just really hard for me to thrive in or feel at least like I was doing well or feeling motivated or heard or like the things I was learning were actually being retained. That was always a little bit of a struggle for me. And I I played a lot of sports growing up, and that was the place where I was like, oh, wait a minute, something like, my feet are real slow. I'm pretty heavy on the feet. So like, I wasn't always going to go that far, but like, I always found ways to be at the top of the group I was playing with in whatever it was. And I think the thing that I saw really quickly is I'm like, man, my brain is moving really quick. I'm thinking to do things that like other people sometimes actually it's not working because they're not even seeing it, but I know it could work. And so I started to be like, wait a minute, maybe I am smart. And like, maybe I am actually really creative. It's just like the environment that I was in, I couldn't find my footing to be that. Like in the classroom, for example. And so I really like leaned into the sports thing. I ended up going to college trying to play sports, only maybe playing sports and not really going to class. And I kind of looked around and was like, what am I doing? What are my ambitions? Like, who do I want to be? And the person I was showing up in college wasn't it. So I actually dropped out against any recommendation from anyone in my life, I think. And I did have an opportunity to go and work full time, coaching and teaching and growing the sport that I played, which was lacrosse at the time. And so I just leapt on it. I like moved across the country and went for it. And I think it was like, I always bring up that experience because it was a moment for me as I'm like doing all this like self-discovery. Like I always had this like huge creative tick, but like not necessarily like pen to paper skill set or like something that was being recognized outside, like, and on the field, people, you can be as creative as you want, like playing a sport, but like no one's like, oh my God, you should make a career out of being creative in a sport that doesn't even have a professional league for you. Like no one's getting excited about that for me. Yeah. So it was in that place where I was actually coaching and leading tons of like middle school, high schoolers. I coached at the college level at the time too. And every day I'm like, well, who are you? What do you want? To like these kids, as they're figuring it out. And then I'd be like, oh shit, like, who am I? Like, what do I want? And one day I actually woke up and I was like, I have to go see if I can be smart somewhere else. And so I dropped sports like completely. I actually like moved to Oregon randomly. Like I knew one person who lived there and was like, sure, like I'll try that place. It seems cheaper, at least in New York and LA, where I was making like 20-30K a year, splitting my time between both of those. Like it wasn't happening. So I went to Oregon and I convinced this man to hire me as a dishwasher. Had to wash dishes for 2 weeks before he realized I kept showing up. But he ended up hiring me. And after getting to know me a little bit, he hired me as his personal assistant to help grow his restaurant model. And I was like, damn, this is fun. Like I love food. I love community. I love meeting different people in the sports world. And I was coaching lacrosse. So I was like around a bunch of like white women from similar backgrounds as me. It was like very homogenous. And so it was really fun to go and be like, damn, we're making waffles every day in the community and meeting different people. And that part was really exciting for me. And what I realized really quickly through that experience and looking back on my others is like my type of creativity is actually very related to people and processes and systems and experiences. And so I realized that my skill set is I am really good at identifying high potential talent. I could do it in sports. I could do it in like a minimum wage restaurant job. I could find that person. I'm like, you are going to be like the best waffle cook we've ever had, like all these things. And then what I geeked out on is like building something into something new or something bigger, and then creating like platforms for people to be their best. So it's like, I can see you and where you're going to be. Now my creativity, like really comes to life in how I create experiences, systems, processes, resources, tools, questions that will help you actually fulfill your own potential. And so a year in the restaurant biz, and he decided to actually stop growing his model. And I had just learned that like building is my thing, and what I wanted to do. And so I was like, damn, like, let's go our own ways. And I'm no college on my resume, no college degree on my resume. I'll put some years in there just to make sure they knew I tried. And I just started applying to all these corporate jobs thinking like, maybe I can like do better, make more money, try a Monday through Friday gig, like socialize, have a life. And I think I applied to like 300 places. No one wrote back except for Adidas. And like, I was like, what the heck? I got the interview. I like read the room pretty well. I'm like, this is different than what I was expecting, but answered the questions, knew the vibe to play, the things to promote about myself to get through the interview process. And they like called me back, and the last questions I was asked is, did you ever actually graduate college? And I was like, nope. And they were like, okay. And they're like, and you applied to be a recruiter. Have you ever done like actual recruiting though? I don't really see any actual recruiting, though you use the word recruiting a lot in your resume. And I was like, yeah, that's what the internet told me to do. And this is my creativity again. And then they were like, yeah, well, can you start on Monday? And I was like, yeah. And I honestly, I'm like, it was the moment that I recognized my privilege for one. And I feel like I slipped through the crack, and I was like, man, y'all made the greatest mistake of your life, because like I'm holding that door open behind me. And I happen to have a position in the recruiting, or like the gatekeepers to the company, that like, I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna get the value out of it. And I was also very aware that like I was a white woman in Portland, Oregon doing that. And had I not been, especially had I been a non-white person, I don't think that story would have been the same. And I remember walking through the halls on my first week and seeing the posters in the building that didn't look like the consumers or the posters on the building that reflected the consumers, but the people in the building not necessarily looking the same. And so I got really passionate about like, how do we help the company be better? Everyone talking about wanting diversity and inclusion at the forefront. And so I was like, well, then let's do it. Like, all right, we identified what we want, I'll build towards that. And through a lot of different recruiting initiatives, managing the internship program for a while, got to a place where my manager at the time, Jessica Smith, who is one of the co-founders of S.E.E.D as well, really the brains behind it. I always say I'm more of the legs. But like we were like, if we want different results, let's do something different. And that's where like I think I really come to life as a creative. I get to work with designers all the time and people talking about creativity, and it's often like we're picturing something that's not really like my same sauce. Like I have a different lens on creativity, but it's been so fun to innovate in like the HR space, and like to walk into a room and be like, yeah, I work in HR. And like, people are like, okay. Like, and I'm like, yo, this is creative HR though. And so it's been really fun. And now officially part of a design organization, not HR. So that's been pretty fun for my creative journey.
If you could sum up what the S.E.E.D program is, what would you say it is? Because I mean, I'm getting the gist of what it is, but if you could articulate it in a sentence, how would you sum it up?
You got this, sir.
All right. S.E.E.D is a 2-year alternative to a university education for BIPOC women pursuing footwear design as a career. And we guarantee you a job upon successful completion. We pay you to go there. We provide a housing stipend. And we think we're creating like the world's best educational model, period. We're reserving it for BIPOC women to make sure that that's who enters the industry, is they've been left out.
Yeah.
That's like that was very
great, right?
I added a
you should write like
sentence.
You should write movie summaries. Movie summaries on Rotten Tomatoes. That's crazy. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, S.E.E.D is absolutely like my life's work. It's not just a job, because I wouldn't have moved to Brooklyn for just a job. Right. You know, I felt like I was living my best life in South Florida on the beach, designing sneakers. I had my family down the road. I mean, I think sometimes in life you create buckets, you create lists of things that you need to make your life amazing. And I felt like I had that.
You were in the bucket.
But yeah, I was. But I think from a legacy standpoint, and we talk about how we spend our days, I wasn't necessarily doing work that was going to be legacy building or lasting.
For sure.
And you know, when the program came about, it all made sense for me. All the experiences I had in my career at that moment let me know that I experienced it not for myself, but for what someone else was already building. And now I can come alongside this pre-existing work that was being done and add my perspective to it, and we can build together. You know, and so that alignment was very important to me. And that's what I'll say to anyone too. Like, you know, if you're gonna get up in the morning, you should be doing something that you're fully aligned with, you know, that's gonna be legacy building and lasting.
That's like
when
we met too. I think it was like easy eye contact, like, oh, that's your mission, this is my mission. Exactly. Like, okay, say less, let's go. Cheresse is on board. She's moving to New York in a day. Sorry for the short notice.
I know.
So I think
you can't think, you just got to do.
Right. I think that's a good point. And I guess if you two can speak to that, because you both said you did it in your own way, kind of making that jump and kind of like leaping into faith and trusting your process and trusting what you can do as a creative and being in a space where you can basically thrive. You could necessarily do all those things where you were currently, and making those moves. Like, what was that like for you? And then obviously for the people that join the program, they have to do it as well. So what is that experience like?
I can say right away, for me, I don't look at any of my favorite life's moments without acknowledging the risk it took to have that moment. Like, everything is tied to that. It's like I'm pretty spiritual, so it's connecting to my spiritual side, to knowing myself and my own identity, and doing the work to figure that out, so that when you have a choice of like stay in your lane or make a leap, like, you know exactly which one to do. That's key. And for me, it's the risks or the fun, like that, like, I don't know, trying something and like seeing if I could do it, and then finding out that like I actually was capable well beyond what I even expected of myself. Like, that's awesome. So there's that. And I think that that's like part of what we have to try and instill in our students, and what we actually ask of them too.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, when I was 14 years old, I, like I said, was so gung-ho. I was focused on footwear design. I had an opportunity to attend a design high school in South Florida. So I was just on that track, like all eyes on Nike. I wrote an artist statement. I said, I'm either going to work at Nike, Sony, or Macintosh at the time, right? Apple. And I'd written that out, and I had swooshes drawn on my notebooks. I was fully focused on Nike. And, you know, I think sometimes we have these dreams we put out there. I think we don't really actually believe we're going to attain them because we don't think past them. Yeah. Right. So like, I was all about getting to Nike, and I got there and I was like, man, now what? Because I thought it was like this thing that was so far off in my mind. I was going to spend my life trying to get there. You know, thankful enough, I got there at 22. So I started off my career there, and had amazing mentors, but it was absolutely, you know, a culture shock, right? Like, no one can prepare you for what corporate is going to be like, and how you navigate that, and the fact that you really need to have mentors and people in your corner, in your circle, to help you understand the lay of the land, how to process it, and then how to move forward and then actually grow, because all the resources are there. You just got to put it together in a way that makes sense for you as an individual to grow and learn. So for me, in terms of risks, you know, I got to a point in my career at Nike where I felt like there's more. There has to be more. I haven't yet scratched the surface of my own potential. And it is not about these shoes, right? Because you create products season in, season out, and it just, it feels empty, especially when you see someone wear it to the ground. And you're like, man, I spent 18 months developing that shoe, and now I can't even recognize it. It just lets you know that the things that you may be creating, if you don't create more meaning around them, they're just going in the trash, right? For me, I was like, okay, I need to be affecting people. I need to be creating pathways for people and women who look like me to get into this space, because I was always the only one on my team. You know, always the only woman. In footwear design. I would go to factories and they would stop stitching and just stare at me. Walking through a factory, because, you know, they'd never seen someone who looked like me in the factory, though they have teams coming from the US into the factories all the time, but never anyone who looks like me. Or if they did, the partners would say, oh, are you doing color design? Oh, are you doing material design? Never actually the footwear, right? The creation of the molds and some of the more technical things. And I got to a point where I'm like, I have to go back and like really help facilitate people to be able to get into this space. And so leaving Nike was huge. I was sick about it for months because I knew it needed to happen.
No, I get it.
No, you know,
I get it.
Deep down, you know, things need to happen. This isn't working, right? If you're in a relationship you shouldn't be in, you know it's bad. You just can't bring yourself to cut the cord, right? because there's some safety in the knowing that, okay, I could at least predict. I know it's bad, but I know what to expect, right? And there's a huge fear around the unknown, even if it's something that could be amazing, it's unknown and unfamiliar. But I got to a point where I'm like, anything is going to be better than the mental space I was in at the time. And so I quit. We got in a U-Haul, drove from Oregon to Miami, and taking that leap, because that's how I got there. I left and I went to Oregon, and I had to do the same thing. So being able to take risks wasn't foreign to me at that point. And I knew that I had to take the jump, right? And so for our students, the ones that are moving and leaving where they are and coming here, I tell them all the time, Liz and I had to do the same thing. Like, neither one of us are from New York. We have equally put in stake into the success of this program, just like you are going to put the same amount of stake in the program and the success of it and your own success. So we're all in the same boat together, right? So we have to work together to make sure that you guys are successful, which is also our own success too.
I had a question kind of related to that. So I used to work at Under Armour. I did IT there. And what you find that IT people work very closely to artists. And what I notice is people come from all over the world, and there's like this month period that if you don't get comfortable in your space, you leave. It's like, it's guaranteed. If you don't find your shop that you get pizza from, if you don't have a collection of friends within like 1 month to 3 months, that person typically leaves. What do you guys put in place to kind of create comfort for somebody that's coming into a situation? You may be coming from Mississippi, coming to New York, and it's the big city. You know, how do you create an environment that keeps people there?
Well, man, I think that's always a work in progress in terms of like the culture of how we show up every single day. I will say that the front end, before we even bring people in, that's been like my favorite place to express my creativity, is in the interview process. Like, if anybody who's done an interview knows, like, the process sucks. Like, it's the worst. Like, I mean, like, it's bad being a candidate. It's actually the worst being a candidate. I'm telling you right now, those recruiters you're talking to on the phone, they feel the same way. Like, it's so hard, like managing 250 conversations a week with people, like where you say the same thing over and over, and you have to like really make sure they feel seen and heard. But like, also you don't want to get too attached, because like you're waiting on somebody else to tell you if they want to talk to them, and like, and then you end up leaving so many people hanging and ghosting them, all these things. System's super flawed. So everything we do in our system is about trying to humanize it. And like, I think especially like we're talking about bringing in BIPOC women into a corporate system that was not built with everybody in mind. Right. It was built with the people who built it in mind, pretty much only. And so you're trying to humanize a process because when you talk about a creative, like, and Cheresse and I, we teach this every day. We talk about it all the time, but like, what makes a good creative a good creative? Whatever's uniquely them. Like, what's your sauce that makes you a unique individual that nobody else in the world has? That's what we're hiring. But everything that people do to evaluate against that is actually trying to get you to shed that. Don't show that at all, actually. Show up in this outfit, speak this language, fit into this box, you know? And so we try to actually tear all that stuff down and be like, all right, listen, here's a safe space for you in the recruitment process to be yourself. I'm gonna have to tell you no. I'm gonna have to reject you. I'm gonna have to like give you feedback, all these things. That's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna give you transparent feedback. And the only way you're gonna get value out of it is if you actually are yourself, because otherwise you don't even know who I'm saying no to. Like you or the version of you were trying to pretend to be to get me to like you. Like that's the that's the tough thing we do. And so I think like building that safety starts on the front end. Even with our application process, and we try to uphold that. We actually put every student through a 5-week, well, the top like let's say up to 20 people that we consider for the program. We only take up to about 6 per year. Those 20, we actually put through a 5-week curriculum where we're helping you learn the ins and outs. We're workshopping with you. You'll have a full portfolio piece by the time you're done. So that if we're telling you no, we actually gave you something in the process instead of just sucking out your soul and then leaving you on red, you know? So it's like, here, great. Like maybe this program's not for you, but like, here's a portfolio piece. I'm here as a mentor for you for life. If you want to use it, you got my phone number, you got Cheresse's number. Like we're here, a team of people we bring in to also be your resources if we're not a fit for you. And then for the people who do make the program, well, hopefully they trust us at that point because they just went through that.
Right.
Though I will say trust has to be built every single day. It's tough. And these corporate spaces aren't thinking like that. They're still operating in the old systems, even when we're innovating in our world. So it's really interesting to integrate of like, how do we use all this human stuff? How do we create a safe space, but still show them the real world? Because we're integrated in it.
Exactly.
I think that's super dope. And personally, like I'm a advocate of alternative education. I did go to Morgan State, but I also went to Penn Sol, so I'm a Penn Sol alumni, and did a couple other things in the design space to kind of improve my skill set specifically within that space. Because when I was initially going to school, I did want to go to design school, but I was like, I'm looking at these different schools. I'm looking at like FIT, but I don't see any programs that fit what I want to do as a designer, because I ran my own streetwear brand for about 7 years. But I was like, for me to go into these spaces, like I'm learning high-end design and doing all these things, so I don't see anything about footwear specifically. I don't see anything about streetwear, so I don't know where I fit in. So seeing programs like S.E.E.D where you're getting specifically what you want to learn, and it's a space for you, if you're a woman of color trying to enter that space, you feel welcome, you feel supported, you have those support systems. And I think that's very important for that to happen, to continue to grow the space and grow the numbers within that market.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when was the first time that you saw somebody in the creative space that you two were like, I want to be there? Because I mean, like it's not until I've seen people in creative spaces that I want to aspire to be there. Like when did that happen for the two of you?
Yeah, I'll say I had the desire for a long time, but the first time I think I probably got the closest to it was one of my like classmates from high school, Dwayne Lawrence, had gone off to college and then went on to intern at Nike. And then he got a job designing Dwayne Wade's first shoes when he got into league. So like the Converse.
Oh, wow.
Dwayne Wade products. So then Dwayne Lawrence would come back to our high school, his old high school, while I was there, and he just bring the products with him. And Dwayne's someone I'd have gone to school with. So I'm like, I remember you on the basketball court. Now you're designing Dwayne Wade shoes, who plays for my favorite team, the Miami Heat. So I was like, oh,
that's amazing.
This is it.
Yeah.
And then when I got to college, Soul Collector actually just started printing magazines. That's when they were still printing magazines.
Right.
And so I had a subscription, and then I saw Dwayne Edwards in one of the Soul Collector magazines. And then Dwayne Lawrence connected me to Dwayne Edwards, and we connected. I was probably a sophomore in college, and I was like, this is it. I was sending D emails like every week, asking for feedback, and he connected me with other, members of his team. And I was just like, man, I'm in, I got to be there. And I was hungry and passionate and wanted to keep working, and took everything they told me and executed upon it. So those were my first two connection points with people who, again, were from my same community, but in the space doing it and at a very high level, and people I can actually pattern myself after. So that was super key for me.
For sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess bringing that back up, as far as getting into the S.E.E.D program, you talked about Dwayne and him, doing Penn Sol. That is, a very competitive program to get into as far as, being a design. Obviously, they give you submission grounds to participate in their different programs, and they partner with different brands. How competitive is it for the S.E.E.D program, and what steps do applicants need to do to actually get into it?
Yeah, I would say it's fairly competitive. I think like on average, the last 2 years, we've had about like 2,000 people that will probably contact me leading up to and during the application process.
Yeah.
And then we only select up to 6. So like that's already like pretty competitive. You know, like it's tough to like the biggest thing is like the first step you got to be willing to take is like to be yourself authentically. That's the biggest risk you got to take in our application. Our application itself, I think, is pretty fun. I'm the only one who reads it too, so I try to be transparent about that. I'm like, hey, just FYI, any of that like weird stuff that happens in your head when you like submit something online and you're picturing like a room full of people in suits like reviewing you and judging you, like I don't know, it's just my eyeballs. Like literally that's it. My name's Liz. Hey, like here's all my things, whatever too. And the application is, I need to know your name so I know what to call you. I need to know your contact info so I know how to contact you. Here's the requirements for the program, which are BIPOC women 18 years or older by the time the program starts in July, interested in pursuing a career in footwear design, authorized to work in the USA.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
I don't want to see your resume. I don't want to see your portfolio. I just want to know how to contact you. But what I do ask is 3 questions or 3 tasks, questions, whatever. One, submit a video, just introducing yourself, who you are. Tell me about yourself, so I can get to know you and get a sense of who you are. 2, draw a sneaker that doesn't exist yet. I don't care where you draw it, how you draw it, what you use. I don't care if you got cardboard and I don't know, whatever pen you find on the street and you do it that way. I don't care if you have the latest, greatest digital tools. None of that's going to sway me. All I'm looking for is like what's inside your brain and how well could you visually communicate it with the resources you do have. And is it actually a sneaker that doesn't exist yet, or is it a color up of one that you've seen over and over again? 3, tell me what makes you a creator. Use any medium you want. I've gotten poems, I've gotten essays, I've gotten videos. I was wondering
about that. Did anybody ever rap? Anybody ever rap?
Oh, heck yeah. I've gotten music videos, collages. Like it's my favorite part. Like it's exhausting going through all of them for sure. But like, it is so fun to see what people do. And like, I genuinely, like sometimes to a fault, I get so excited about like the greatness of humans. And like, I really can see your best self. Like the second I meet you, I'm like, oh my God, I already see like all of your greatest things right away. And so I think that's actually a value that I bring to the application review, is like, I start by assuming the best of you. I start by trying to see the best of you. I'm not trying to like cross you out. I'm not trying to judge you against what I think something should look like. I'm trying to find something I've never seen before. So literally all you have to do is be yourself, because that's the only thing that you know for sure doesn't exist in the world outside of you. It's the most unique thing you have, is who you actually are, which is beautiful and tough.
Are you open to older participants? Because sometimes, you know, it's people like me who are, I'm 38 and I'm still creating stuff. You may find a woman's person that's also a person of color that may not have had the time in their 20s to create anything that they, you know, they may have a masterpiece.
Or even know about the opportunity, right?
Exactly.
Right.
They didn't exist before.
The access to the information is still not available as it needs to be, even in today's age, which is crazy. We're open to anything. Like that's why like we don't do minimum requirements, we do like maximum requirements. If anything, we're like don't already have access to this job and career. Like if you do, go do that. You got it. You got it. We'll be here. We'll help you from this lane, but like don't take this lane from others. Like this lane is for people who do have ambitions but haven't had the lane. So I think what we're really focused on is like, it's not your age or like, you know, whatever thing I think we sometimes evaluate people on. It's like, what's your motivation? Like what, like, I don't care how old you are. Are you going to come in and kick ass? Like, are you going to, do you want this? Are you going to work hard every day? Are you going to get to know, do you know yourself? Do you want to continue getting to know yourself? Do you want to like impact the world with like these magical creations that like you can't keep inside of you because it's bursting out the seams? Then like come through. But like, we're also going to tell you listen, this shit is really hard because we don't give you a path. We don't give you a checklist. We don't say, here's the plan, go after it. We say the plan is learning who you are, getting to know yourself, understanding your identity, and then learning how to use that to navigate these crazy corporate spaces where they try to take a lot of that away from you in most occasions. And like, are you willing to put in the time and effort and maybe sacrifice some other things in life, right? Time, like space, like you're gonna have to live in Brooklyn. So if that's not on your radar, it's gotta be. If you're willing to do all that, for real, it's for anybody.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's absolutely a mindset. We do a lot of work. We talk a lot about mindset. I'm always sending out videos to the team, YouTube videos around mindset, because that really is a thing in your decisions that you make. Is a thing that's going to either get you closer to your goal or keep you far from it, right? It's the things that you got to be willing to do, the sacrificial things, the things that are uncomfortable. You got to be willing to put yourself in spaces. You have to be vulnerable enough to present your ideas and to sacrifice them sometimes for the greater good of the team. Because the other part of the work that we do is our students are learning through doing. So we actually produce products that go to market. It doesn't belong to one person on the team. It belongs to all of us. Therefore, we are working together. So we need people who are collaborative, who see the value in the vision of their teammates and don't want to just be like, oh, this is my way or the highway. You know, like, this is my shoe. Like, that's not how we operate. This product belongs to all of us. And that's why it says S.E.E.D. It doesn't just say Cheresse or Liz or one person. So the collaborative piece is super important. And that's really the most problematic part, because we're not taught to work together in school, right? Especially design school. You're taught that this is your work, your portfolio, and you're like this.
Exactly.
Some of my experiences, nobody's sharing their work. You know, I was lucky enough to go to college with 8 of my friends from high school. So we were always working together and collaborating, because we're like, look, we're all trying to get a job, you know, so let's work together. But that also doesn't happen in the corporate space either. So the collaboration is huge for us, and the mindset, it's huge, you know, and it's going to be hard because, to Liz's point, we're not giving you a list of things to check the box and say, there, you get a job. No, you have to, we'll present you all the tools, but you have to build your own cake, right? And I always say too, like, Liz and I are in the driver's seat right now, but very soon we're moving to the passenger seat and then the back seat. And this is your career and then to drive, right? And we're here, resources for you and advocates and all of those things, but we're not going to tell you where you should go. You tell us where you want to go, and we'll help you get there. And we put other people around you to support you in that journey to where you want to be.
So what's it like working in Brooklyn, and what has the program looked like, obviously during COVID? And I think last year you guys put out a superstar from the program, right?
Yeah, we have tons of products out. Actually, we got a few more coming out. Another collection of 4 shoes coming out pretty soon. Last summer we dropped a collection of 4 different forums. So like high, mid, low. So our products are coming out, and it's branded by S.E.E.D, you know, obviously in collaboration with the brand too. So that's the difference maker for us in the curriculum and what we're able to offer. Where in traditional school, you know, the design projects you're working on are make-believe. Like, let's be honest, right? Like, it is like ethereal, and it's great for blue sky thinking, and you want to show how far you can stretch your imagination, but it actually doesn't make you a better designer, because the best designs come out of constraint, right? So when you're designing with those parameters, you have a budget for the project, you have a timeline, you have counterparts who you have to work with, and you have a factory that sometimes has limitations, right? So how can you produce something that's beautiful and amazing and resonates with the consumer with this really restrictive toolbox sometimes, right? And I think the best designs and problem solving comes out of the constraint of all of those different processes.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're able to offer our students, and they get to leave with a portfolio of products that have hit the market. They know the numbers, they know how it's sold through, they've gotten that feedback, they can implement that into the next round of products that they do. But, you know, a lot of people who've gone the traditional route can't necessarily say that they've had those types of experiences.
You also, you see so much bias in the hiring process. Unconscious bias for sure, like explicit bias for sure in hiring. But one of the things I saw happen all the time was we'll say someone coming from like a non-traditional pathway or background, or maybe just looks different than the person across from them in the interview, you would see them present the same hypothetical project they worked on in college, maybe at a different school, maybe not one of the top art schools, and people would be like, wow, amazing creativity. I just don't really see like how that would actually be applied. And then someone who goes to the same school, same background, they're like, oh yeah, I remember that project. Dang, you did good on that. Come on through, you're hired. And it's like, there's so much bias involved with that. So that was one of the decisions we made. Like, obviously it's, I mean, like epic to be learning by actually creating the shoes that go to market and will last for life. Like no one can take that away. It's on a shelf. You get to see people wearing it. That's an amazing experience for student designers, but it's also a tool we use to hold accountability in hiring decisions. No one can tell you if your idea could or could not go to market. Like, no, like your marketing team briefed me. I've worked with your developers. I made adjustments based on like cost restrictions. Oh, and guess what? 2,000 units went to shelf in North America only, and it sold out in under 2 weeks. That's the real, those are real stats from our I had to use
that's
right.
I'm like, listen.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So I had a question. Adidas is a really unique company in that they were really ahead of the curve on like streetwear and things like that. How do you incorporate, I guess, kind of the innovations that happen in the shoe space and clothing space into your program? Because it's really unique. Like nobody really is on the level of Adidas when it comes to that sort of saturation in the market. There was no streetwear besides Adidas streetwear in the sneaker space forever. So like, how do you integrate that history, that information into the S.E.E.D program?
I don't think we can speak on Adidas specifically on behalf of the company.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
I will share though that with any project we get briefed in, we work with a variety of different partners. So we sometimes will work on other brands' product as well. So whoever the brand is coming to us, like I think Cheresse, you can probably speak better to like our process within that. But I wanted to set it up that like yes, we're partnered specifically with Adidas, and we definitely work there. I can't speak on behalf of how.
But I'll also say, just from a methodology standpoint, like innovation is at the heart of like every brand that wants to be around tomorrow, right? Absolutely. Innovation and your pursuit of it, like a key part of your business strategy. Right. And for us, we have the pleasure of being based in Brooklyn, you know, where innovation is happening within the brand. And so we're constantly looking to innovate our own program. Right. We're looking to innovate the way in which we teach our students, the how, the why, the what's. We're reading a great book right now called The Innovator's DNA. I'm always pushing books to the team. I believe that everybody should become a learner and a lifelong reader. Always. Super important. You know, so we just embody that method, you know, the brand's methodology and approach to design. We embody that and we challenge that, and we're bringing in, you know, some of the same programs that our, you know, innovators are using. So we're not creating something that's separate. We're in tandem, you know, with the work that's happening here. So our designers are learning like the things that the innovators are learning. So they go out into the brand and they have already grown up with that DNA within them, and they're thinking that way.
Gotcha.
So that makes them even more valuable.
It is cool. Our headquarters here for design in Brooklyn is the innovation team. And so we built S.E.E.D to be here. So the space that we actually get to sit in every day is like, it's called the Brooklyn Creator Farm. Right. It's one of the coolest things I think in the industry. I remember when I first heard it was happening, I was like, no way, like this is sick. And people reference it like designer Disneyland, like the space is immaculate. Like anything you want to make anything, like anything is here. And there's freedom to go in and make stuff too for work and for personal. Like the whole thing is about a culture of like, be a creator, whoever you are, including like HR over here, or whatever. And that part's really cool. And I think, you know, the products that we're surrounded by, so say we didn't talk to anyone in this building, which would be wild, but like, you're still looking at everything on the shelves inside this building is like 3+ years away from hitting a shelf, like on the market.
Yeah.
So you're surrounded by what's to come. You're learning about like what's already been done in the history, right? And then you're actively designing for the present and like the near present, 18 months out usually. But like that part I think is like really beautiful and inspiring, and to have a brand with so much history, but to sit in a space that is like the lead of innovation, and then be challenged to say, okay, now how do we make this come to life now? It's really, really cool.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Exactly.
I guess we're getting to the point where we do our next segment, Ronald, the favorites. So this part, we just kind of get to know you guys a little bit better and just ask you random questions. I guess one that came to me, your favorite place to either go or favorite place to eat in Brooklyn?
Ew. For me, it's I know we do have.
I'll
let you say that spot. You can say that spot, though it has the same type of food. Mine is gonna be Peppa's jerk chicken spot. There's like a few different ones all over. My family's from the Caribbean, so you know where I live in Brooklyn, there's just a plethora of Caribbean restaurants. So you know, mine's would be any one of those. Negril is a great one too.
And then Cheresse and I, our thing that she forgot about. We go to Amani's in Fort Greene. Yeah. Like I'm a big fan. Their chicken wings are really good, but I order every single time. They have this tiger shrimp and grits. I grew up in Florida, like which is like the not South, you know, South. But still, like I grew up on like some pretty good grits, and I really mess with Amani's a lot.
Savory or sweet grits?
Savory.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So next question. So 2 of your favorite shoes of all time and 1 pair that you're currently wearing that you can't stop wearing.
I'll go quick. Yeah. I'm not really a sneakerhead, you guys.
That's okay. No wrong with that.
I like honestly am a fangirl for slides. And I always will be. Been wearing them since like 1st grade. And then I'll say that the ones that I probably rock the most so is actually our S.E.E.D superstars. The
cool.
We created like I genuinely love them, and I am picky.
That's dope.
Yeah, we were working on the colorways and bringing Liz in to see if she would wear them.
Feedback queen over here. I was
exactly.
I wasn't. Fun.
Exactly. For me, I already said the 10s. I'm partial to those, but I think the 11s are everyone's favorite, one of my favorites. And one of my other favorite shoes are one of the ones that I designed. I designed the Jordan Flight 45, which is it's like over 10 years old now, but I still actually see it in like the Foot Locker here in Brooklyn, which is really fun. And I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity had I not, you know, reached out to my mentor, Dwayne again, who was design director at that time, and said, you know, D, I don't have any work to do. He's like, I'll give you work to do. And I designed, you know, my first 10 footwear products with the brand. So that body of work is very special, just again, because of how it happened. And that let me know that I had to speak up always. If something's not right, if I need an opportunity, I can't sit back and wait for it to happen. I have to go out and get it. And that is a life lesson. And then a shoe I can't stop wearing right now. I have these Champion slides that I wear to go out, take the trash out, get the mail around my building. I'm spending so much time there. The Champion slides, which low key kind of look like Adidas slides, but I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, those are the ones I wear. I probably the most, obviously spending a lot more time at home these days.
Big slide fans over here.
Yeah, right.
The company's gotta be cringing.
Yeah,
what's your favorite shoe? Like slides.
All right, cool. And I guess the last one that I had is the favorite way to relax, because this work can be very intensive. So what do you guys do to relax?
I said it before, just reading. You know, I can't get to the beach as often as I like to. If I was in South Florida, it would be the beach. But right now, I think just reading books on different topics allows me to just get away, like physically, you know, we got digital books or audio books, but I need to actually touch the pages, highlight, write my own notes. It allows me to just mentally like escape to a place and just be in deep thought about a particular subject matter. That was super nerdy of an answer, but
no,
that's just how I like to. I actually do like to relax in that way.
Yeah, she really does. Every weekend, I'm like, oh,
I'm like,
Nah.
check out this book.
Yeah, and she just texts me on the weekend. I'm like, stop talking about books. No, I'm different in that way for sure. For me, like it's bath time. Like I love a bath. Like I try to take a weekly bath. I'm actually slipping on my bath game right now. I'm realizing as I'm saying this, so that's probably in store tonight. Bath, and then like the other piece for me in terms of relaxing is actually playing. Like I've picked up street hockey for the first time over COVID.
Oh wow.
As a first time rollerblader, and you heard me talk about my heavy feet already. Like that's something. It's humbling, but I love to play. Like just like get out and play like a little kid.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did you
yeah, we have this thing called the Branded 10, where we have our guests give 10 songs that kind of represent who they are. So you're super lucky. There's 2 of you. So you only have to give 5 each. 5 songs that are like, this is Cheresse, this is Liz. These songs represent me. What 5 songs represent you, Cheresse? What 5 songs represent you?
Elevators by Outkast.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my go-to song, Elevators. When I am in deep creative block, I just put that song on and like, you know, just the first few notes of that song. That's been mine since college. Can we go back and forth?
Yeah, sure.
Because it gives me an opportunity to think. Elevators is my first one.
Yeah, I really mess with Ordinary People by John Legend.
Yeah,
such a good song.
Yeah, and I think like after like talking to people all the time, I'm just like, man, we're just ordinary people.
Yeah, number 2 for me is Your House by Steel Pulse, which was, I got married a few months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that was our first dance song. A little reggae song for us. So
cool.
Yeah.
Oh man. I'm slipping. Like to represent me. That's the problem. I can tell you that. I like I'm gonna mess up the name of it. Oh, well, you go ahead again.
It's gonna be a Bob Marley song.
Okay.
For me. There's so many to choose from. Is This Love is a great one. I love that one, but anything by Bob Marley. Ice Cube, Today Was a Good Day.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great one.
I love Summertime by Vince Staples.
Okay.
That's
a good pick.
I don't think I've ever heard that. I'm gonna listen to it.
It's moody, but it's also like good. Yeah.
I like Vince Staples a lot.
Yeah, his old stuff too.
Yeah.
That one. Oh my God. Dangerous by Wyclef, right?
Okay.
That one from back in the day. I love that. That's me. I'm dangerous.
Yeah.
What else? How many more do I have? Are you done?
I was gonna say we'll compile the list. If there's anything missing, we'll shoot it over and let you guys finish after.
Yeah. I used to listen to so much music on the school bus just riding from home because my school was so many miles away from home. And I just remember being on the school bus in the morning at like 5 a.m. listening to Tupac, like Ambition.
Oh.
So.
What about any Florida people for you? Any like slip and slide, any trick
We're
daddy?
both from Florida, so I'm from Miami, and Liz is from
right outside
Central
Orlando.
Florida.
So any
like
Trick Daddy, Trina?
For sure.
Oh, for sure. Trick Daddy and Trina, are you
in
kidding?
6th grade.
Rick Ross, come on.
Rick
Ross.
I didn't want to come in hot because he's like one of my favorite people of all time.
Yeah.
Rick Ross, you throw on any.
one of our students was from Miami, and like she suddenly sent a video. She's just driving in the car and like Rick Ross going by, and I was like,
side.
we all, me, Cheresse, and her are going wild. The rest of like the students are like, what? We're like, we're from Florida.
Yeah, right.
It's Rick Ross.
Exactly. Pretty Ricky back in the day.
Pretty Ricky. Oh my God,
that's a throwback.
Yeah,
Baby Blue. Yeah,
Baby Blue. But yeah, that's thank you. Like we'll if you could give us like, actually y'all could actually give us 10 each if you want.
Okay,
we'll shoot you, Donte will shoot you an email. Yeah, thank you so much for doing that. That was incredible.
Because what we do after we basically compile the songs, we put it on a playlist for Spotify so people can check it out.
Amazing.
Yeah,
very cool.
So it comes with, it's like an extra that comes with the podcast. You're like, okay,
cool.
These people are cool. Let me listen to their music.
Fun.
Okay, with time to like think and like,
you get
my instinctual answers. I was like, why, Liz, are you I was gonna say pole dancer. Like that was the first song. And like Meg Thee Stallion comes in and like it's really like it makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about vibes.
Right.
It's hard.
All right. We'll get it to you guys.
Okay.
Awesome.
Super fun.
Cool. Yeah, so to wrap up, I guess, how do people get in contact with you? How do they participate in the program? Where do they look for information?
Yeah, so you can email seedschool@adidas.com. My phone number is 503-312-7347. I post it all over the internet and I prefer a text message.
You just Mike Jones this?
And then you can also see there's a Instagram SEED with periods in between, or Adidas _SEED with periods in between the letters. On Instagram, we have the application link in our bio and keep things up to date there as well.
Very cool. And you can find me on LinkedIn. So Cheresse Thornhill-Goldson on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram. I maybe won't give out my phone number. You can find me on those platforms.
For sure.
Cool.
Ronald, where can we find you and your endeavors?
Who is Ron James on everything? The links to my streetwear line status apparatus are there. I have a pop tea thing called Tea Jam Goods. Movie Schmovies there. I have a movie podcast. Branded link is there. I do a bunch of stuff. That's all under Who is Ron James on Instagram. You can find all that stuff there.
There you go. And then as far as mine, it's Cotton Smooth. So COTTEONSMOOTH. You'll be able to find a link as well there for all the stuff that I do. As far as the podcast, BRNDD podcast on pretty much all the platforms. You can also go to brandedpodcast.com. Check out all the playlists that other people have submitted. Previous episodes. We got video stuff on YouTube now, so you can watch the podcast if you're not so much into listening it. Liz, Cheresse, thank you for joining us, having fun with us. It was a great conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
For sure.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
See y'all.
All right. See you later.